Welcome back to the Deliberate Leaders Podcast. I am your host, Allison Dunn, executive coach. I am super excited to introduce the guest that we have here with us today. We have Stephen King. From startup to working with Fortune 500 executives, Stephen brings a unique combination of vision, foresight, and experience to helping small businesses run better, grow faster, and make more money. And who doesn't want that, right? He's regarded as one of the accounting industry's top thought leader. He's currently serving as CEO and founder of GrowthForce, one of the nation's largest outsourced accounting companies. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Allie, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I love to kick these off with a deliberate conversation. So what would be your number one leadership tip for our listeners today?
Oh, it's people that drive profits. I'm a CPA. I've been a CPA for 36 years, and you can have all the data in the world, but if you don't know how to attract and retain the people who will wow your clients, it doesn't matter. It's all about happy clients creating happy employees.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, happy employees creating happy clients.
Well, happy clients makes happy employees too. So it does work both ways. I do think.
Yes, totally. Completely agree with that.
Well, that actually tees us right up perfectly for part of our conversation today, which is basically how to address the Great Resignation that everyone's talking about. And hopefully in this episode today, we're going to talk about the key steps we need to take to align not only our human capital management strategy, but align it with our financial management strategy.
My favorite topic.
Yeah, good. It is definitely a well-covered topic at this moment. So, with this, they've labeled it the Great Resignation. I've heard people kind of coin a bunch of different terms for it. So, I know what people are talking about. So with employees across the country really contemplating whether or not they want to jump ship, and turnover rates, just are spiking across all different industries. What does this type of employee turnover cost a company?
Well, there's a lot of statistics on this, and it's kind of all over the map. It goes from the Society of Human Resource Managers, who says that it's between 50% and 200% of the base salary of a person, and the more expensive the person, the higher the percentage.
Right.
The Small Business Administration says it costs between 25% and 150% of their salary. But either way, it's the single biggest hidden cost in any company.
Yeah. What are some of the ideas that you would like to suggest that, instead of having the turnover, how do we keep them?
Well, it starts with recruiting, right? It's just like in successful client service starts in sales.
Yeah. Recruiting
is the most important sale you'll ever make. And, we're a client of Insperity. I learned a lot from being a partner with them and from their experts. And you start by understanding, why do you exist? What is your mission? What is your reason for someone who should come to work for you? And what are the core values that you hold near and dear, around which somebody will be wildly successful if they do these things? Because you can teach skills, you can't teach behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
And that, once you do that, that's step one. Step two is recruit for cultural fit, and build a high-performing team by finding people who are passionate about your mission. Why you are on Earth is why they're on Earth. And we do accounting, right? You would think, okay, that's who's passionate about that? And a lot of people are. And when you look for that, it's the law of attraction, right? You attract like-minded people. They get excited to come and fulfill your mission. We help small businesses, service businesses specifically, and nonprofits, help them run better, grow faster, and either nonprofits raise more money and for-profits make more money. And when you position it like that, instead of we do bookkeeping and bank reconciliations and pay payroll, you are able to find people that are seeing this opportunity right now, not as the Great Resignation, but as the Great Awakening. This is to my mind, there's a big silver lining in this whole pandemic, is that we're all going to live a happier life. Mm-hmm. And so when you had that year to step back and see, is this all there is? Then you now get to have people say, you know what, I want to do something with, in our case, my accounting degree or my CPA or whatever. And those people that you hire, because they've been awakened, are passionate to come to work every day because they believe they're making a difference in the world. But the key here is the workforce has changed. We're a really great example and a case study, and I don't mind being transparent and sharing.
Thank you.
So that others can learn. This last year, I've been doing this 3 decades, and this last year I've learned more than 3 decades before about managing a workforce. And we have a big service center, Kingwood, Texas, 18,000 square feet. It's really beautiful. We designed it for us. There's a sign on the wall, on the roof outside, and you can see it from the street. And, it's got a fun vibe and plants and all that you would expect in a growth force. And then after we locked down for a year, we made everybody come back. And we talked about, well, hybrid seems to be what people want to do. Should we do that? And we said, if we let that genie out of the bottle, there's no getting it back in. And security is job one for me. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't have people, who didn't have locked down computers, working from anywhere. In an emergency, yeah, we can say, okay, your home IP address, we'll lock in that VPN. But we needed some time and some investment to do that. I lost half my middle managers. We have 10 managers, and we lost 5 of them. An HR manager, an IT manager, and 3 accounting managers. And they were all looking for not a hybrid workforce. That seems to be what is the most popular. I'm an avid reader of this topic because it's so critical to our success. People want to work from home. I want to work from home. I'm a gardener. I love being able to take a conference call and be deadheading my cyclamen right now. And get a bike ride at lunchtime and have lunch with my wife. We work and live in Kingwood, but we never have lunch together. But all that is great until it's not great. And then, she doesn't want me there 5 days a week. And I like the people I work with. And I feel like we have so much to teach and to learn. And so our staff are coming back to the office because they get something out of coming back to the office. They get to be mentored. They get to have training, face-to-face meetings, add value when the other person that has answers to your questions of the things you want to learn. And so what we're doing it right now. The timing on this is really perfect. We are changing our whole structure. We used to have, we switched to, I missed a step. We said, when we lost everybody, I said, okay, we're going to hybrid, like right now. And we took our PPP money and we bought 2 monitors and a computer and security and a camera and a microphone for every employee for them to set up at home, and we locked them down. And it worked really well because our processes are all defined. I've been doing this since 1995. We're really, really good at this. And Houston has a lot of hurricanes. We already had a remote workforce. We just chose to bring people to the office because of the collaboration, of the teamwork. People never quit GrowthForce. My COO has been here 16 years. My director of onboarding, 15 years. My sales business development manager was my executive assistant 16 years ago. I like to call it a family, but there's some, in the workplace, it's really a community is better because the family, there's parents and children in a family, and we don't have any parents and children. And every family, I'm happy to say, seems to be, except mine, is dysfunctional, right? So you don't want to have all that in the workplace. So I'm moving towards more of a community where we care about each other. When somebody's out sick or their family member is sick, the team is going to pick up the slack and cover for you. And you're going to learn from that team. And so the office had a lot of benefits. But you don't need to be here 5 days a week. We're currently 3 days a week. We're even looking at, do we go to 2 days? But that would mean that, we don't need all this space. So there's a lot of really interesting conversations happening. But the way you make the office work is when you're in the office, you have FaceTime with leadership, with the managers, with the people who can help your career. And so we've changed our whole management structure. We follow a process called traction, EOS, right? And so we have departmental traction meetings and we have leadership traction meetings every week. We used to do these when we were face-to-face. Any task force, whenever there's an interesting project that we have to solve for in the company, I pull together a task force, cross-functional teams, and help everybody get their voice heard on how we solve this challenge. We used to do all those in our days in the office, but it meant that the entire leadership team, me in particular, is not walking around every day because they're in windowless conference rooms trying to solve problems. So we moved all those to Thursdays and Fridays. And we're making our Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday specifically about FaceTime, working side by side with a manager, with a senior, teaching bookkeepers how to do things smarter and better and learn new skills so that they can move up to an accountant. An accountant can become a senior staff, and a senior staff can become a manager. And we're investing heavily in leadership development because employee retention is our number one measure of success. It's not sales. It's not client retention. It's not margins. It's employee retention. Because when our managers left, so did decades of knowledge.
Right.
So we're going to do whatever it takes for people to feel loved and special and like they're making a difference with their time. So the days in the office are all about that mentoring and side by side working together on clients and teaching and camaraderie and teamwork and playing. We give one thing that Insperity taught us, which I thought was absolutely genius, was employee engagement budget. We give, I don't even know what it is now, but I think it's around $500 a quarter for the manager to take the team to do anything. Actually, it's probably $250, somewhere around there. And so, it's getting, outfield bleacher seats in the Crawford box for the Astro game. It's, rock climbing or knife throwing or just something to break up the day-to-day monotony and to create opportunities outside of work to get to know each other. Because if you find out that, someone's mom is sick, now all of a sudden, and living with them, and now you're sudden you're more empathetic when it's like, listen, I'm not going to be here on Thursday because we got to go to the doctor. And when you've got that issue, they'll cover your back. It's important to know when somebody's baby has 4 legs. I mean, that's life, right? That's what's important to us. And so people join companies and they quit bosses. And they quit bosses because the boss doesn't care about me and my career, my development. And so I think that's the opportunity, the lesson of 6 recessions, I think. The big lesson here is to have the right mindset, is to come from as much of an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. When we had 5 people leave, 5 managers leave, I said to the team, this is a great opportunity, a once in a lifetime opportunity to remake the management team. How do we top grade ourselves? And so we went out and found great CPAs who are experienced in serving small businesses and nonprofits. And we didn't hire people who didn't have the core values that make us great. Does that answer your question?
It did, and more. I just want to take a moment and just make sure that people caught in the introduction that, you're an accounting firm And I just want to highlight that that you basically said your key performance metric and indicator is an employee retention, not gross margin, not profit, not sales, not all of the things that we expect our accountants to tell us, right? And you also kind of highlighted some of the investments that you're making into your team. With the loss of your management team and the opportunity to really look at it as this is a huge opportunity to like just bring in some more skills and the right, a better attitude and some fresh perspectives. How did you go about that? Have you filled all of the positions, and what did you find as a new theme on the new folks that you're bringing in? How has it changed your culture?
What a great question. First off, we're an outsourced accounting department.
Yeah.
So we're not a CPA firm. I had a CPA firm and I didn't want to do taxes and audits, so I stopped that. We do, and that speaks to the kinds of people we brought in. I called the company GrowthForce because we wanted to be a platform for growing your profits. And I along my way, I was at Ernst & Young for 7 years building accounting systems for large global 50 companies. And I realized that small businesses that I was serving at a small CPA firm in college needed the exact same things. They need data to make decisions. And so along the way, when I left Ernst & Young, I got to be the CFO of a nonprofit called Amnesty International USA. 2 weeks after Bruce Springsteen and Peter Gabriel and Sting finished the worldwide tour, and I got to meet all those guys except Bruce. We grew from $6 million to $18 million overnight, and I got called in to build the systems to handle all that growth, and then take over the fundraising. So we are recruiting for people who have experience in either nonprofits or service business and small businesses as an advisor, or we're looking for people who are going to be more than the controller, and that's historically where we stopped. Right? We were really, really good at closing the books and delivering the financial statements and sitting down with the leaders and saying, okay, here's how you read and interpret these results. What we're now doing is starting a broader conversation about, okay, so what is your plan for this business? Or in your nonprofit, what is your plan to grow the organization? And what I've been working on for the last couple of years is systems to help improve profitability and have systems to help nonprofits raise more money. And it's the same system. It's all about being able to understand what does it cost you to deliver the services you deliver. And then being in a donor, be able to show them the tangible result of their gift. What's the return on investment that a donor gets when they give you $10,000? And then make that a monthly recurring annuity, and you'll solve all your cash flow problems. On the for-profit side, it's people who are looking for people who can read and interpret the results to help the nonprofit figure out who are the most profitable clients. What are the most profitable services? Are you pricing your jobs right? And we've created these calculators to start with profits first. You're familiar with the profits first concept? So we do that. We go in and say, okay, so how much profit do you want next year? Divide that by how many units you're going to have in a year, how many billable hours in our service businesses, or how many jobs, how many customers. But it applies to any industry. If you're a manufacturer, how many widgets are you going to shift? And now you know how much profit you make on every single widget you ship. And the reason that's so important is because when sales comes to you, like sales always comes to you and says, hey, I'm in a competitive situation here. I need to give them a 10% discount. I can close this deal and we'll make it up in services down the road, or we'll get referrals from a new partner, or we'll keep these people busy. All that 10% comes right out of your profit. And when you know it on a per unit basis, you can make a data-driven decision on the most important thing you'll ever do, which is pricing a job. So I'm looking for people now who want to do that, who want to do management accounting instead of financial statements.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Have you promoted those folks from an internal standpoint, or?
Oh yeah, as much as possible, right? So almost all my leadership team is homegrown, and that's the plan. We did make a conscious decision to when we top graded the position to bring in some outside skills, CPA specifically, so that my senior staff who are the next leaders of this organization have somebody to learn from, right? Have additional skills that the managers that we had in the past, who were all homegrown. All of our managers came from, all the way, some started as bookkeepers to staff to senior to manager, and even to a director was homegrown. I wanted to take this moment to bring in some additional skill sets to broaden the training opportunities. But absolutely, the business model of is so much better when you promote from within, because people buy from people. They don't buy from GrowthForce. I just had a great call today with a client who loves, a Jackie and Ethan. Just they would leave if we lost, if they lost their team. And so you want to promote from within, because people join companies and they quit bosses. So you have to hire good bosses, people that are, that you want to love, who will love on you. But they also leave. The number 2 reason is lack of career development. Mm-hmm. So, as Maslow's hierarchy of needs kicks in, we've gotten, especially now where people are intentional about their lives, you've got to line out. What we're doing right now is we're updating our old career development plan, where, and that's one of the reasons why we lost some people. We used to have that documented. Every employee knew when they came in exactly what it took to become a staff, exactly what it took to become a senior. And, we took our eye off the ball when COVID. It was a long year of just, not focusing on the basic human capital strategies. Right. And my HR manager had quit. And that's the other smart thing I did, was bring in a great HR manager. Gabby is the one who really helps us make sure that leadership is embodying those core values. It's important for somebody to be coaching internally. You're a coach, right? And when you have somebody that can speak truth to power, that you trust, and everyone's aligned around the same mission, vision, and values, then your bosses don't end up doing things that don't fit the culture, and people end up leaving. The second thing, though, is to help implement that learning and development culture and mindset. They join companies and quit bosses, and the second reason is the lack of career development opportunities. That's also the number 1 reason why they take a job. It's not salary. Somebody will go I was at Ernst & Young for 7 years, because they gave me an MBA in management accounting. And after 7 years, I was making $45,000 in 1989, and they were billing me out at $175 an hour. I didn't care. I was a sponge. And so you've got to give those staff a clear path of what exactly does it take to get to the next level. And for us, I think the most exciting part is, we're using Insperity's management training. Our HR manager is working with Insperity to go through what they used to call boot camp. But it's basically, 8 classes that cover all the things that a manager needs. How to have, first off, DISC training. So, all problems start with communication. So we do 2 DISC trainings to understand how to communicate with people who communicate differently from you. And then now I think it's going to be in May or June, our senior staff are going to do the exact same career path, leadership path that we're doing. After DISC is going to be coaching conversations, how to have difficult conversations, what is empathy and being aware. I think those are the things that make a difference, because everyone wants to grow to become a manager. And that's not true. Not everybody wants to become a manager, but
I know a lot of people who don't.
I do too, and they're really happy, and that's what all that matters, right? But a lot of young people, especially, I know I was at Ernst & Young. I was like, I stayed there because they made me a manager. They taught me project management, time management. They taught me how to do budgets. They taught me how to do performance reviews. I mean, that's gold. And I think, for me, that's probably the smartest thing we're doing, is teaching our future leaders. And I like to say to people, I get excited when somebody leaves for a great job, right? We just had we just had somebody leave for a great job, and when they came and they said, I'm going here, I'm going to PwC, right? She's like, I said, take it. I won't even counter. You should take that job. And kudos to us for 2 years ago, you came in right out of school, and 2 years later, look at what you got. Now, I don't want people to leave, so I don't want, if my staff are listening to this, to have them think that's what I'm saying. But if Ernst & Young said to me, we want you to spend 7 years here and become a manager. And I was like, all right, done. I'll do that. And then I got to move over as a CFO of Amnesty International. If I had stayed 5 years and left as a senior, I'd go in as an assistant controller. And I'd have to wait till the controller and the CFO died.
Stephen, you mentioned the Amnesty International kind of positions that you had there. Are there any lessons that you learned while there that still define who you are as a leader today?
Oh, there's so many. Well, first off, that's where I learned about family versus community. The new executive director came in and he said, you got adults and you got children. And, you can't fire a family member. And I hated him. I hated him for it when he said it. I was like, well, this is Amnesty International. We are a family. I sleep on people's beds. People come from out of the country and sleep on our couch, when they land at Kennedy Airport with no money. But I think the other part is to give back. We're a company with a conscience. I'm not in it for the money. It's hard to believe, but I've been very blessed with a son of a car dealer. And, I feel like that gives us an opportunity. I want to make money. I'm the guy who has the Path to Profits podcast. Okay. So don't get me wrong. We're not a charity, but I like to be able to give back. And so we have budgeted 4 hours every quarter for every person to do volunteer work. Kristen and I on Friday will spend the whole afternoon at the Village Learning and Achievement Center golf outing, helping do whatever they need us to do. Yesterday, there was a team went to one of our nonprofit clients and just donated a half a day. And then we give with our money too. We take 10% of our profits go to nonprofit charities. And then I match it up to $15,000. So we're really trying to make a difference in the world and have our employees, feel like I'm an accountant, but I've had multiple clients say to us, we feel like we're changing the world. And Youth Speaks just said this to me, and we can't do it without GrowthForce. So you guys should really feel like you're changing the world. I have that on my website, that video. I love it.
That's awesome. Stephen, what is the best way for folks to find you, connect with you?
So my email is Stephen, STEPHEN @growthforce.com. And I love answering questions. It's kind of my life's work, is just to make a difference. Our website is obviously growthforce.com. LinkedIn, I'm Stephen King with a PH, Stephen King CPA, and that's also me on Twitter.
Okay, fantastic. Stephen, thank you so much for your time today.
Allie, thanks for giving me a chance to tell the story.
You bet.